Talking to Rich with a question about eyesight. Hey, Rich, thanks for the call. You are live.
All right. Thanks for taking the call today. My question is with somebody that I train at the gym. He's actually an MMA fighter, and he just got a diagnosis from his MD that if he takes another hit to the head, anywhere in the forehead area, I guess he said, that his eye sockets, he could lose his eyesight due to his, he didn't give me the exact diagnosis, so I'm trying to wing it here a little bit, but he said that basically the connective tissue that holds his eyes in place is becoming shredded. And he was basically told that there's nothing they can do, he's going to lose his sight in just a matter of time. So...
All right. Well, they told
another quick question about Lyme disease, since you talked about that earlier, if we have time.
Okay. So, all right. So they told Theo Ratliff the same thing, right? Theo Ratliff, of course, was the second oldest player in the NBA. He retired a year and a half ago from the LA Lakers after making $100 million in NBA. And I think 5 years into his career, the kid's 25, 26 years old. They told him he's done because his connective tissue in his knees and his joints is bad. His ligaments and tendons rip and tear easily. He's got bursitis. He's got osteoporosis, and he can't play at the level necessary for the NBA when the body is broken down as that. So the best orthopedic doctors in the world told him he's done, right? He's done. You're done. Go home, retire early, and invest your money wisely. Well, Theo pays no attention to their nonsense. He calls Dr. Wallach up and says, hey, Doc, my ligaments and tendons are shredded. My bones and joints are weak. I've got osteoporosis. What the heck do I do? Wallach says, all right, Theo, look, stop eating these foods. Start eating these foods. Take these nutritional supplements every day. And he did, like his life depended on it because, his career depended on it. So he did it like a discipline, like only sports guys can do. I mean, they can discipline stuff like nobody's business. So Theo made this his job, made medical nutrition his training job, right? 9 months later, after taking all of the nutritional supplements and changing his diet, his body was so strong. He came back to the NBA without any surgeries, and for the next 3 years led the leagues in rebounds. And from the time they told him he was done until the time he finally retired, he added $38 million to his bank account from NBA contracts because he strengthened his body. So, here's the deal, man. It's all about the stress of life, and there is stress. There's a certain amount of stress that's going to break anybody's bone. There's a certain amount of stress that's going to make anybody's eyeball pop out of the socket, right? But even Superman, you give him enough kryptonite, he's going down for the count. Professional athletes, of course, because of their job, have much more physical stress, especially MMA fighters. I mean, they're just, they're getting beat up literally every day. Their bodies are extremely stressed out. And so what does that mean? They have to retire? No. What it means is they have to give their body triple the amount of the nutrients that you or I need in order to handle the stress of life that they have willingly put themselves in the face of. You wouldn't, if you were loading the guns on the 40-inch, loading the big shells on the 40-inch guns on a battleship, you wouldn't be doing that without ear protection because once one of those rounds goes off, you're going to go deaf if you're standing next to it unless you've got ear protection. Well, you put ear protection, you can load those shells all day. Well, it's the same. If this guy wants to continue in fighting professionally, he's going to have to strengthen his body from the inside out, and that's different from weight training and building muscle strength. He has to nutrify his body so that his body has the raw materials necessary to keep his ligaments, tendons, bones, and everything else healthy. I mean, it's really kind of a no-brainer when you look at it from this position, right? Because of the stress of his life, he has to dial in a medical nutrition program that feeds his connective tissue, in this case, big time. And we have evidence, ample evidence, from athletes all over the world that this actually works. And, of course, his MD isn't going to know anything about this. The MD thinks that, well, once you're sick, you're screwed and your body can't fix it. And, we're going to wait for the cyborg guy to put that in your body. That's going to be their next strategy. So stick around with me, man, Rich. When we come back on the other side of this break, I will tell you exactly what to do to support this guy's connective tissue, and then we'll talk about Lyme disease. Hey, everybody. All right, so we're talking to Rich, who's a personal trainer, I think. You're a personal trainer, right, Rich?
Yes.
All right, and he's got a client who's a mixed martial arts guy, and his doctor told him that his vision was threatened because the connective tissue that supports his eye in the skull is shredded just because of the trauma that he's had, the blows to his head, and he needs to quit or he's going to go blind. Now, so the recommendation here, of course, Rich, is to give this guy the raw materials that his body needs to support and promote and strengthen and fix the connective tissue in the eye. I mean, that's only makes sense. Now, how much Theo Ratliff had to take 9 months off in order to fix his body again. He had to take 9 months off in order to fix his body again. So this guy might need to take a couple months off, might need to take 6 months off, might need to take, I don't know how long it's going to take. But, you know, it's kind of like if he had a broken leg, he wouldn't expect to be running 5 miles a day if he had a broken leg. I mean, even if it had a cast on it and he run, he'd put stress on it, it would break again. So while the game is afoot and he's in the healing zone, he may in fact want to just really get outside of competitive, you know, blows to the head arena and do other stuff to keep his body fit. But just, you know, you might want to get out of the ring for about 6 months. But here's what I would recommend he does every day. So we're going to provide him with a lot of connective tissue support. And to round it all off, of course, we give the 90 essential nutrients because we're holistic and we don't just give a lot of connective tissue stuff. We give everything that the body needs, plus extra connective tissue stuff. And when we do it this way, it works better. Now, also, you need to let him know, and quite frankly, everybody else in the gym, if you haven't already, you probably already have, about the Rebound FX. Because the Rebound FX is the answer to Gatorade, and when you do a comparison, when you look at the comparison between what's in Rebound FX and what's in Gatorade or vitamin water or power water, I mean, it doesn't even compare. And every single athlete that I have had the privilege of putting on Rebound FX loves it, won't go on the court without it. There was a very famous basketball player, we can't mention his name in public, but he wouldn't go on the court without it. They made him put it in a Gatorade bottle. When you take Rebound FX into the sporting arena, you know, as an athlete, you notice a difference. And so when he goes back into the ring, or even when he's training, if he uses the Rebound FX instead of the Gatorade, he's going to get a lot more bang from his workout because, you know, what do you do when you work out? You stress your body. You stress your muscles, you stress your tendons, you stress your ligaments, you stress your organs, and then post-exercise, the body attempts to strengthen the stuff you just stressed. But it can't strengthen the stuff you just stressed with pixie dust. It needs raw materials, it needs vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids to do that. So this is it. I'd hook him up with that program for about 6 months. Tell him to avoid blows to the head for 6 months. And, of course, the secret sauce, because this is a 1-2 punch, the pun was intended that time, we give the supplements and we clean up the diet. So he's got to stop eating the 10 bad foods, stop eating the 10 bad foods, take these supplements and see how it goes. And, you know, it should go really well. Athletes and women and children respond to medical nutrition with rapid speed. And if he does this even just for 14 days, he should notice a significant difference. Does that sound like a plan?